I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, January the 19th. Finally starting to see enough cattle in the feeder cattle auctions across the nation, middle of the week, to really get a test of the market. Earlier in the week, it was still too wet from all those weekend storms to really get enough cattle into the sales to get a good test of the market. But if you look on Wednesday, on a day where the board was mostly higher on fats and nearby feeders, you look at the CME index is really heavily influenced by those northern plains markets, as it's still at 132.56. Your real-time index on Beef Market Central has been falling the last couple of days. It's got more percentage of cattle in the southern plains and in the Midwest right in there. It's at 131.28. As soon as receipts start going up a little more, then we should see those two come together. But we haven't had any fat cattle trades so far this week. Look at our first big sale of the week in OKC West in El Reno, Oklahoma, around 5,700 head. Feeders were fully steady, so that's kind of what we thought the market was. On light receipts, we was having a hard time telling really what the market was doing, but fully steady on a decent test there in El Reno. And calves $2 to $5 higher, especially for those getting ready to turn out on wheat. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've been selling wheat cattle because they ran out of wheat. We get a couple inches of good soaking rain there over the weekend, and guys are already buying cattle back to turn back out on the wheat, but that's a good thing. But you look at that Beef Market Central report out of El Reno, and you can kind of see where those heavily sponsored weights there, where we have the best test, you can see about fully steady and some pretty decent gains on the lighter weights. Now you might want to pay attention at the end of February. El Reno's going to change their schedule up a little bit. They've been getting big runs. They're starting to be probably one of the most, if the most highest volume feeder cattle auction that we have in the United States. They're overtaking Oklahoma National Stockyards, but they're going to start selling the cows on Monday like they have been at 10 o'clock. But on Tuesday now, where they didn't before Tuesday, they're going to start selling their lighter cattle, their calves and their stocker cattle on Tuesday, and then Wednesday for the heavier feeder cattle and yearlings. But that's going to help them not have to run so late at night. Some of those big sales they've had here the last 2 or 3 weeks, running way after midnight selling cattle, and nobody really wants to do that. But you look at some other places in Creston, Iowa, on Wednesday at 2 o'clock, they had a load of 795-pound steers at 137.50. Another quote on Beef Market Central in El Reno at 4:30 on Wednesday, they had 172 steers, weighed 812 at 131.75. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.